This is Aisle 42. We're diving back into the world of sustainable and indulgent chocolate, and here's a few reasons why. 90% of Canadians and Americans gift chocolate for Christmas. And get this, only 3% of the world's cacao production is certified organic. Oh boy. So I sat down for a chat with the President of Chocxo, Peter Higgins, to talk about a whole bunch of things, like how their team is helping farmers thrive and how they're working towards being plastic neutral. But we also talk about all things organic, low sugar, and how their chocolatiers are having so much fun making all these delicious and seasonal flavors. This episode is for all you chocolate enthusiasts and anyone interested in the intersection of gourmet taste, health, and sustainability in food production. We all love a decadent treat, and buying organic chocolate that's ethically sourced makes the future of food brighter and more delicious for everyone. You're going to enjoy this one. Here's Peter Higgins from Chocxo. Peter, I tried your chocolate for the first time 2 years ago, and it's become a staple in my home. My whole family loves it. In fact, one portion of chocolate is dessert after most meals. So thanks so much for making chocolate and for doing this interview.
We love it. I love to hear that. Chocxo is finding a way into your daily habits, right? It's something you can be proud of. So that's so cool. Love it.
It is. And it's easy to share too. Oh my gosh. So easy. In fact, sometimes that's a bit of a problem. My daughter hands it out after school to all of her friends. I'm like, slow down, slow down.
I'd say encourage her to share the good news about Chocxo every chance you get. Smart young lady, it sounds like.
That's right. She's doing what you want her to do. We'll have to see. I have to kind of curb her enthusiasm a little bit. All right. I'm going to start you off here with a question about the future. If you were to imagine the perfect grocery store of the future, what would it look like?
Great question. So I think it's a combination of foods that you can be proud of, consuming yourself that fits with who you are in your day-to-day life, in terms of food that you can be proud of putting into your body, right? Giving to your kids, as you talked about, sharing it with others. And that's really where, I think we're trying to fit in with Chocxo, right? In terms of this, you're not compromising on taste. And that's a piece that we always talk about at Chocxo, not compromising on taste, but it's something you can be proud of sharing with your family. And because it's got this low sugar component and all organic, yet no compromise on the quality of the chocolate taste.
Sounds like a great future. Really does. All right. So for those that don't know Chocxo as well as I do, what do you guys make? And I'm most curious, what's your favorite product that you guys make?
Well, I'm a true chocolate lover and have been for a long time. So I'm fortunate to be in the chocolate world for a long time. And Chocxo is, we're super excited. We've got an amazing team of people that have created this, what we call truly indulgent chocolate, low in sugar, no artificial sugars, just a small amount of organic cane sugar, and always organic. So this truly indulgent chocolate, low in sugar, always organic, is what we're trying to create in Chocxo. And it's this better for you chocolate that tastes amazing, but doesn't have to be filled with sugar to get there. And we developed that through the recipe, the roast, the source of the beans, which I'm happy to sort of expand on. But in its essence, it's a better for you chocolate that tastes totally indulgent and satisfies that chocolate craving that we all have. Many of us have. I know I have.
And what's your go-to snack? What's the Chocxo that's in the glove compartment or hiding in you probably have a lot of chocolate lying around. So I'm not what's in your office, like what's at home, what's hiding out that you always go to?
In my car, at home, if I'm having a snack after dinner right now, tell you, yesterday afternoon, I'm in the car and needed a treat. I had one of our coconut cups. And so this is an 85% dark chocolate with a macaroon center, like a finely ground coconut with a little bit of desiccated coconut in the center, at 3 grams of sugar per serving, and it just all individually packaged, as you know, Corwin. And so that was my treat yesterday, and that's often what I'll have. But people ask me, what is your favorite chocolate all the time? It changes all the time. And that's just a fact. I get to be around chocolate. I can see the almond butter cup behind you. Depends on my mood. Yes, love it. Almond butter cup when I'm feeling a little bit of a nutty treat. Another one of my favorites is the toffee almond sea salt, just that lingering bit of sea salt at the end. So I'm a huge fan of all things chocolate and all things Chocxo. So it varies all the time, to be quite honest with you.
Do you get a lot of Willy Wonka references? I have to ask.
Oh yeah. People, yeah. Willy Wonka and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is one of the best movies. I love it. Right. I like all versions of it. Some people like, do you like the original? Do you like the Johnny Depp one? I'm a fan. And being the chocolate world for a few years here, yeah, I get references all the time. The fact that I'm, and you've met me. I'm not an Oompa Loompa, Corwin. I'm 2 meters tall, right, 6'6", and so I always joke that chocolate makes you grow taller, right? Because I certainly eat a lot of chocolate.
That's an interesting claim. You should maybe put that on pack at one point and see how that fares for you.
Yes, that's not a bad idea. Well, all things chocolate.
Chocxo claims 100% sustainable chocolate. What does that mean?
So what we do in terms of our sustainability claims, there's a couple of different avenues that we look at with regards to sustainability. One is around our cocoa sustainability and our supply chain around cocoa, and the other is around what we're doing around our packaging sustainability side. And on the cocoa sustainability side, what we try to do is we work with suppliers that will engage and work with their farming partners as true partners. And I'll give you an example of one that we work with recently in South America. And all of our cocoa from Chocxo comes from either Peru or Dominican Republic. And I'll give you an example, and it's all organic. We're working with a farming community in Peru recently who didn't have running water into their farm, and so into their farming community. And so they had to walk a few kilometers away to get their water. So what we did was we put piping in from a pump station at the river nearby the community. This community of about 1,000 people now has piped water into the community, and it makes a big difference in those communities that didn't have access to that. As you know, access to clean water is such an important sort of something we take for granted, but where we buy cocoa from these developing communities, we want to give back and make sure that we're doing our part to make sure their communities can grow and get stronger as a result of our relationship and our buying cocoa with them.
Yeah, the well-being of the farmers is such a critical piece to this supply, this value chain that comes into your business. When you guys look at things like fair compensation and labor practices, what are some of the areas that you guys are leaning into to help improve those conditions for farmers?
Yeah, and so we'll do a variety of things in terms of, ultimately trying to help them with their productivity in those communities can help increase their amounts, the amount of their income coming in. Because if they're finding better ways to farm and more efficient ways to farm, they're getting more yield out of their trees and their crops, and they're getting more income. So that's one example. Another example is with our organic, because we're buying all organic product, there is a premium paid for all of the organic materials that helps the farming communities and their wages. They'll get paid a higher amount because of that. So those are a couple of examples of how we try to engage with those with our farming partners right down to that level.
How hard is that? Like when it comes to sourcing sustainable cocoa, like is that a difficult thing? Is that like, oh, you just sort of turn left at the fork of the road and it's right there? Or is it sort of a constant battle, constant challenge for your team?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely a choice how you want to engage and where you want to involved with that. And there's various levels. So we buy our beans, as I talked about, for Chocxo from Peru and Dominican Republic, but we work with different suppliers that will actually, according to our recipes, make those chocolate and that couverture. And so the various suppliers will have different programs of how you can help those communities. So there is a specific choice depending on who you're working with, but the raw material side of the cocoa has really developed over the last, I'd say, several years, and so there are a variety of programs, a variety of examples of how you can make sure that that's coming to life in those farming communities. So yeah, it's a focused choice, and it's a decision of how we do that, and it's just something we take great pride in.
And you guys have a plastic neutral approach. And you mentioned packaging earlier. And for those that aren't familiar with the brand, they're individually wrapped chocolate portions that come in a bag. And from the consumer side, often when you buy pouches of things like standing pouches of product, maybe some bits on top look pretty good, but as you kind of get halfway through a bag of whatever it is, it's like things are destroyed and smashed and crumbly and whatever. So there's a lot of upsides to having these individual portions. But then, of course, there's the plastics and sort of the packaging challenge. So how are you guys tackling that piece of the puzzle and trying to decrease your impact on the environment?
Yeah, no, it's a very important topic as well, and one where, because we believe in the individual packaging, because it's really a great. Our customers have said they take great use of that because they can have one snack after dinner, or they can share it with their child's lunch, or they can take it on their own lunch, or an afternoon snack, and you put it in your purse, and so it doesn't melt as easily. It doesn't make a mess of that. At the same time, sort of we're trying to figure out how do we engage around long-term compostability of the packaging, and because in the systems how we manufacture, I mean, we take the greatest, highest quality chocolate, but we produce that at a very efficient pace. So we put a lot of investment into our factory operations here in Delta, where I'm at today at our factory. And so because of that, the road to compostability and that with that the speed and efficiency we produce at isn't as quick. And so we're working with our suppliers all the time to figure out how can we get to full compostability. In the meantime, we don't want to just wait, and so we use a large amount of PCR, post consumer recyclable plastics in our plastic, as well as what we've decided to do as we continue to research this road to compostability. We've engaged with a company called Repurpose. It's a pretty exciting company that I discovered maybe a year ago or so. We've engaged with them on a program called Plastic Neutral. And so, what that is, while we're still using plastics in the environment, we will offset the amount of plastics that we're using in our production and our with our customers' products to package the chocolate. And with the investment we make with Repurpose, they work with different communities around the world to remove plastic out of the environment. So, example, plastic out of specific waterways. An example is a community in India where there's a tremendous amount of plastic pollution in the waterways. And so this investment is removing that. And so the equal amount of plastic that is consumed in Chocxo products that's used in that is also removed out of the waterways with this repurpose program. So it's not the complete long term solution, but it's an important step on the process down the road of getting towards like a full compostability plastic or full compostability packaging, I should say. That makes sense?
It does. It does. And, I think one of the challenges in sustainability is that, not every brand can do everything all at the same time, all at once to address some of these concerns, but that especially the brands that are deeply committed to always growing, always progressing down a better and better path for the environment. I mean, these are values that are important. So it's cool to see and hear how you guys are leaning into some of the hard places of the business for sure.
Well, yeah, and it's really important. It goes to the culture of who we are. I mean, we're, as much as we talk about loving chocolate, and you hear my passion, my passion around chocolate and the creation of what we do. It's the passion around our teams as well, and just we have an amazing group of people that we make chocolates for our customers and make sure our customers are thrilled. And it's this passion for doing better. in just better, period, whether it's in the cocoa supply chain or the plastics packaging side, and how do we get better in that. So those are, sort of three sort of passions that we have: the chocolate, the people, and just doing better for the environment, and that we try to get better at every day. We don't profess to be perfect.
And efficiency too. I've seen your operation in real life. I've looked through the window and seen all the equipment, all the innovation, the technology, and it looks to be a very efficient system. And there can be a significant reduction of uses of energy, of waste, where things are really tightly managed and really carefully considered. There's a lot of upside to that level of technology going into the making of such beautiful chocolate.
Yes, we're proud of this combination of this chocolate excellence and the efficiency, because we want to make sure it's of great value. It's our customers find great value when they buy it, right? So that's that marriage that we try to match.
And you mentioned your chocolate factory in Delta, British Columbia, but your product is sold all throughout North America, maybe even beyond. I feel like when I see, no matter where I'm traveling or where I'm shopping, Chocxo has usually a very notable presence. There's a lot of shelf space given to it, or display space. Is it growing fast beyond North America? Where is your brand going?
Yeah, we've been very fortunate to get great response from our customers. And I think it's this marriage of this chocolate craving. Chocolate's the most craved food in the world, but yet we can make it truly indulgent in taste without being filled with sugar. And this is where this success is coming from. And we're very fortunate that we've seen that across Canada. The team, we all work hard for that. In the US, we're continuing to sort of grow and get more national distribution in the US. In addition to that, you asked outside of the U.S. and Canada. I mean, we've just launched in the last year in Japan, Costco Japan. So we're proud of that. We've got some business now happening in Singapore, Mexico, certainly, and we've been talking to some opportunities in the Emirates as well. So a variety of places, but really our focus is really continuing to sort of build in Canada and our distribution, and then build in the US. Lots of opportunities still in terms of the mainstream chocolate world, and then this better for you chocolate world that we're trying to be an important pioneer of, and just marriage that better for you chocolate can taste amazing. That's what we're trying to find this fit for.
I love it. I remember at one point, I feel like there was, maybe it was on the package or whatever, but it talked about your chocolate needed to be in a cool place or in the fridge. Is that still the case? Or talk to me about cold storage a little bit, because it's not merchandised in a cold section in the grocery store, but I used to see that.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. So yeah, being the chocolate world, people ask, can you put it in a fridge, and you do that. So although we absolutely display it in the stores, and it's fine at that level, a lot of people, when they buy it from the store, they'll eat it as fast as they can. They're giving it to their friends and their family and eating themselves. But you know what? Sometimes people will say, "Can I store it in the cooler?" And when you store it in a cooler environment, like in a refrigerator, it does just extend that life of that product, right? The one piece you want to be aware of when you pull it out, if you're pulling it out from a refrigerator into a really warm environment, you can, just like anything, you could get condensation. But typically with the packaging the way it is, you'll get that condensation on the outside of the package. So, or you're pulling out one piece and eating it soon thereafter. So yeah, chocolate can absolutely be put in the refrigerator, and it does help just maintain the freshness of it for a little bit longer. But that's not always the case. We also get the question of, in the summertime, and we don't have to worry about it yet today because it's getting a little cooler out here in Vancouver and Delta right now. But in the summertime, yeah, if it gets above 24 degrees Celsius, you're going to start to see that melt, and then that's not the ideal condition for eating chocolate.
Yeah. Well, it obviously speaks to the quality because there's plenty of chocolate out there that can live in your cupboard for a long time and not suffer at all. So that that speaks to what's inside for sure.
Yeah, yeah, we don't use artificial preservatives in our chocolate. So yeah, I mean, if you're not eating it right away, you can't put it in your fridge, and it'll last a little longer.
That's awesome. Well, where can listeners find Choxo and where can they learn more?
So, I mean, definitely, you can learn more on our website, choxo.com. Follow any of our social channels, and you can get new information, new innovation that's happening. I'll tell you maybe in a second about some of our new innovations.
Please do.
Yes, the sneak peek, right? But you know what? We're proud to be, from Costco. You'll see us at Costco's across Canada. You'll see us from Whole Foods to Safeway to Thrifties to Walmart. Proud to be in many independent grocers across BC and Canada, from Metro to Longos to Loblaws, you name it. So yeah, we're proud to get some great distribution and as you said earlier, some great displays that are happening in the many stores. So
Love it. Okay, so what's coming down the pike? What do you what is your chocolate, team working on? If that you're allowed to say, of course.
yeah, yeah. Let me think about that. People always ask, how do you come up with new chocolates, right? And so it is the most fun, one of the most fun parts of our job, right? And I don't know if you, I think I might have told you, but we have two chocolatiers, that full time chocolatiers that work for us. Stephanie, as an example, is a classically trained chocolatier from France originally. She's worked in and around Vancouver at different chocolatiers for better part of 10 years and joined our team maybe last year. And so has been really a great part of the team and inspiring us in creating new flavors. My original background from way back is a food scientist. So the innovation side and that creation of new products is something that I love about what I do as well. So, in the last year, the coconut cup, I mentioned earlier, the 85% coconut cup, we just launched that in the last year. Tremendously successful. And it's pretty much rose right away to our top item. People still love the almond butter, the peanut butter, and the coconut almond.
I grew up eating those chocolate covered mounds of coconut when I was a kid. When it was my dad and I, we just loved those things. So coconut and dark chocolate are always a go-to.
Yeah, and it's amazing. You just have to try that once, and people go, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing." So that's been one of our newest innovations, and then another one, the toffee almond sea salt that we launched just in the spring. It feels like we've had it for longer, but it just launched in the spring, and we're starting to get distribution in more places. That's been incredibly popular. And that's really unique, Corwin, because and this is something we developed through the innovation team. It's a 69% dark chocolate, but it also has some milk chocolate in it. So it's very unique to have a dark milk with that high of cocoa content. And so what that does is it gives you a little bit of a caramelized note when you eat that chocolate, the couverture as well. And then what we've added to it is a little bit of organic toffee, a little bit of almond, and it's got this hint of sea salt finish at the end. So you've got this wonderful combination. And people ask, how do you come up with that the first time? We try iteration after iteration after iteration, quite frankly. And so we'll try that with a 75%. We'll try that with a 72, varying amounts of toffee, because we want all of these, we want this symphony of flavors, right? We want this beautiful combination instead of just heavy chocolate. And so the team, there's a few of us here that will try these and we'll tweak these recipes all the time, and we'll have them in a boardroom of 20 different chocolates at a time, and we'll be tasting it to see what are the right combinations of flavors and what is the most mainstream sort of successful approach. So it's a little bit of an insight to how we do that. We'll just line them up on a table, and sometimes we'll have, I say, 20 chocolates in an hour and a half sitting, and for me personally, I can't get enough, right? So I love that part of what we do, right?
It's almost like a chocolate sommelier. Like if you could tell the difference between 69% and 73%, like I'm like, oh my gosh, I would never be able to be like, tastes good. This one, I would approve them all. And then you guys would, don't hire me. Please don't hire me.
Yeah. So, but it really is. And as I say, we bring our chocolate, our beans in from Peru and Dominican Republic, which have a very different flavor profile from different beans sourced from different areas of the world. So most of the world's cocoa beans come from West Africa. It's typically a more monotone, can be a little bit more earthy flavor versus the South American beans, like an example, Peru. It's a little bit more naturally fruity, a little bit more flavorful. So you don't have to roast it quite as much. So you get this beautifully flavored couverture without having to add a tremendous amount of sugar. We just add a hint of organic cane sugar to balance that flavor out.
And you get to use words like couverture.
Right.
That's a smarty pants word, man. And you guys have a seasonal one, like a holiday, like a Christmas kind of bent, don't you?
Yeah. So, and that's part of the new innovation. So we've got just launching out right now, and you'll start to see that in some of the stores right now, and more as November, the calendar turns to November. We've got two items there. One is really it's a low sugar version of peppermint bark, is the way I'm going to describe it. So the first one is a cup that it's got a peppermint. It's a peppermint cup, and so it's got a soft center with just a little bit of peppermint on top and mint flavor. It's fantastic. 4 grams of sugar per serving. So you got this adult low sugar version of a peppermint bark. And the second one we've got 2 seasonal Christmas holiday items, is a peppermint cookie snap, cookie crunch. And so this one has a little bit of candy cane in it. It has a 69% dark milk again, as well. It has a small amount of organic gluten-free cookie. And it's got this wonderful combination of textures as well as this fresh mint taste. I'm going to brag for a second. That one there, we were very fortunate to win the Nexty Award at the Expo East event that happened in September. So there's a few hundred people that would apply for these Nexty Awards, and we were very fortunate to win the best new dessert at between all the competition at the Nexty at the Expo East event, the Natural Food Show. So
that's like the winning an Oscar.
It really was. The team that was there said there was a bunch of people coming up with drums and like horns, and they came up behind them, and big sign came up, and congratulations, Chocxo, you won the prize for the Nexty. So that's a big deal in the industry, as you know, to win the Nexty. So we're very proud of that.
I love it. It's so good. Peter, thanks for doing this. Thanks for making, and your team making such beautiful chocolate, and for doing everything you're doing for the planet and for the communities that grow your chocolate. And it's a wonderful brand, and I love seeing you guys continue to grow.
Thank you so much, Corwin. Really appreciate your support, and we're going to keep innovating. We've got some other sneak peeks that we can talk about in the next podcast, and you'll see that coming soon. So, thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
Sounds good. Rock on. And that's a wrap on this episode and for the year. 2023 is now in the books for Aisle 42. Thanks for listening, and for everyone who shared a star rating and review on Apple or Spotify and signed up at aisle42podcast.com. I'm super grateful for your support. This podcast is proudly brought to you by Ethical Food Group, and I'm Corwin Hebert. I'll see you in the future.